A strict homeowner association president Patricia Baker becomes angry when a disabled girl accidentally spills a drink on her expensive dress. In a moment of rage, Patricia grabs a bottle of drain cleaner and throws the harmful chemical at the girl's face, causing serious burns. Before watching full video, comment below from where you are watching. Also like and subscribe for more Karen stories. Sarah Williams, a 43-year-old federal judge, moved into Oakwood Estates with her daughter Emma. At 16, Emma had cerebral palsy, but was incredibly smart. Their new home needed a wheelchair ramp and other changes to help Emma move around easily. Patricia Baker, the 52-year-old president of the Homeowner Association, noticed these changes right away. She hated how they looked. "These modifications ruin our neighborhood's image," Patricia said loudly at a community meeting. Soon Sarah found notes on her door. "Remove that ugly ramp, and your changes violate Homeowner Association rules." One afternoon, as Emma wheeled herself home from the school bus, Patricia stopped her. "That ramp is an eyesore," Patricia said, where everyone could hear. "Tell your mother to fix it or face consequences." Emma came home in tears that day, but Patricia had no idea who she was really challenging. Sarah knocked on Patricia's door one Saturday morning holding a folder of medical documents. "Patricia, I would like to talk about the modifications to our home," Sarah said calmly. "They are necessary for Emma's mobility. I have her doctor's recommendations here." Patricia barely glanced at the papers. "Rules are rules, Mrs. Williams. The board does not approve of changes that affect property values. The Americans with Disabilities Act protects our right to these modifications," Sarah explained, trying not to mention her legal background. Patricia's face hardened. "We will see about that." The next day, Sarah found a $500 fine in her mailbox for unauthorized exterior alterations. 3 more fines followed that week, each for different made-up violations. At the monthly Homeowner Association meeting, Patricia spoke dramatically about certain new residents destroying neighborhood standards. Several neighbors nodded in agreement. "If we allow one ramp, soon we will have all sorts of ugly changes," one woman said. "Property values will plummet," added another. Sarah tried to speak, but Patricia cut her off. "The matter is closed for discussion." Walking home, Sarah noticed neighbors who had once smiled now looked away. Some even crossed the street to avoid them. Emma noticed too. "Mom, nobody talks to me anymore," she said one evening. Pushing her dinner around her plate, "Melissa canceled our study session. She said her mom does not want her at our house." Sarah found Emma crying in her room more often. Her grades began to slip, and she stopped joining video calls with her science club. "Maybe we should move again," Emma suggested, her voice flat and defeated. Sarah considered revealing her profession. One word about being a federal judge would likely change Patricia's attitude, but Sarah had always kept her work separate from her personal life. It protected Emma from unwanted attention and kept their home life peaceful. Instead, Sarah filed formal complaints with the county about the Homeowner Association discriminatory practices, careful to write as a concerned mother, not as a legal professional. She hoped the situation would improve without having to reveal her position. But Patricia was just getting started. The annual Oakwood Estates summer barbecue was held in the community park. Sarah had hesitated to attend, but Emma insisted they should not hide away. "We have every right to be here, Mom," Emma said, wearing her favorite blue dress and a determined smile. The afternoon was awkward but peaceful. As they sat at a corner table, a few kind neighbors stopped by to chat, though most kept their distance. Emma wheeled herself to the drinks table, carefully filling a cup with lemonade. As she turned, her wheelchair caught on the tablecloth. Patricia was passing by in her cream-colored designer dress that she had been bragging about all day. "This cost more than your monthly rent," she had told another neighbor loudly. The lemonade splashed across Patricia's expensive dress, leaving a bright yellow stain down the front. "I am so sorry," Emma gasped. "It was an accident." Patricia's face twisted with rage. "You did that on purpose, you little brat." She looked around wildly, her eyes landing on a maintenance cart where the pool cleaner had left supplies. She grabbed a white plastic bottle labeled "Danger Corrosive." "Let us see how you like being ruined." Patricia screamed. Before anyone could react, Patricia unscrewed the cap and flung the liquid directly at Emma's face. Emma's scream pierced the air as the drain cleaner splashed across her face, neck, and shoulders. She fell from her wheelchair, her body convulsing in pain. Sarah ran to her daughter, pulling off her own jacket to wipe the burning chemical away. Everyone froze in horror. Mrs. Jenkins, a retired nurse, finally broke from the shock. "Call 911. She shouted, rushing to help. "We need lots of water." Two men ran to the garden hose, while Sarah cradled her daughter's head, desperately trying to comfort her. "It burns, Mom, it burns," Emma cried, her beautiful face already reddening and blistering. Patricia stood motionless, the empty bottle still in her hand as the reality of what she had done began to sink in. "She ruined my dress," she whispered, but no one was listening. As sirens wailed in the distance, the ambulance raced through traffic with Emma inside. Her screams had turned to whimpers by the time they reached Memorial Hospital's burn unit. Third-degree chemical burns over 20% of her body, primarily facial. The doctor told Sarah in the waiting room, "We need to perform emergency surgery to prevent further damage. She will need multiple surgeries." After this, Sarah collapsed into a chair, her hands shaking. "Will she? Will her face? We will do everything we can," the doctor said gently, "but there will be scarring." For 3 days, Sarah did not leave the hospital. She slept in a chair beside Emma's bed watching her daughter's bandaged face, tubes running everywhere. Emma's soft moans tore at Sarah's heart. On the 4th day, Detective Morgan appeared in the doorway. "Mrs. Williams, we need your statement about what happened." Sarah looked at her sleeping daughter. "Has Patricia Baker been arrested?" "Miss Baker claims it was an accident, that she grabbed the wrong bottle thinking it was water to clean the stain." "That is a lie." Sarah's voice rose. "Everyone saw her grab that bottle deliberately." "Detective," Morgan sighed, "we are having trouble getting witnesses to come forward. Many seem afraid to speak against Miss Baker." "She threw drain cleaner in my daughter's face," Sarah whispered fiercely. Back in Oakwood Estates, the detective knocked on doors. Most neighbors peeked through curtains but would not answer. Those who did spoke carefully. "I did not see exactly what happened," said one. "It all happened so fast," said another. Mrs. Jenkins, the retired nurse who had helped Emma, was the only one who spoke. Clearly, Patricia knew what she was doing. That bottle had big warning labels all over it. Meanwhile, Patricia held an emergency homeowner association meeting. "It was a terrible accident that is being blown out of proportion," she told everyone. "If you know what is good for this community and your property values, you will support me." Sarah felt pulled in 2 directions: stay with Emma, who needed her mother, or fight for justice against the woman who had attacked her child. 2 weeks after the attack, Patricia Baker appeared for her preliminary hearing. She walked confidently into the courthouse wearing an expensive suit, her lawyer beside her. The charges were aggravated assault and battery, but her lawyer had already filed motions to reduce them to simple negligence. "This was an unfortunate accident," her lawyer told reporters outside. "Miss Baker has been a pillar of the community for 20 years. Patricia nodded, playing the role of the unfairly accused neighborhood leader. As they entered the courtroom, she froze in the doorway. "What is she doing here, Patricia?" hissed to her lawyer. Sarah Williams sat at the prosecutor's table in conversation with the district attorney. The district attorney nodded respectfully as Sarah spoke, taking careful notes. "That is just the victim's mother," her lawyer whispered back. The bailiff called out, "All rise for the Honorable Judge Thompson." As everyone stood, the judge nodded to Sarah. "Judge Williams, I understand your unique position in this case. The court appreciates your professional courtesy in this difficult situation." Patricia's mouth fell open. "Judge, she is a judge." Her lawyer looked confused. "You did not know?" Sarah Williams is one of the most respected federal judges in the district. Patricia sank into her chair as the color drained from her face after the hearing. Sarah approached the district attorney. "I have recused myself from any official involvement, but as Emma's mother and a witness, I will ensure all proper procedures are followed." The case against Patricia grew stronger by the day. The community center, Security cameras had captured the entire incident. The footage clearly showed Patricia reading the drain cleaner label before throwing it. Mrs. Jenkins finally convinced other neighbors to come forward. "If we do not speak up now, who might be next?" she told them. Most shocking were the stories that emerged from other neighborhoods where Patricia had lived. 3 families with disabled members had moved away after constant harassment. One man with a service dog had found antifreeze in his yard. A woman with a hearing impairment had her special doorbell system repeatedly vandalized. "There is a pattern of targeting people with disabilities," the prosecutor explained to Sarah. "The hate crime enhancement will be added to the charges." Patricia's lawyer approached Sarah with a plea deal offer, but Sarah shook her head. "This goes to trial," she said firmly. "My daughter deserves her day in court." In an emotional trial, Emma testifies from her hospital bed via video. Patricia is found guilty of aggravated assault and hate crime against a disabled person. She receives a 15-year prison sentence and is ordered to pay $25 million in damages. The court also dissolves the corrupt homeowner association board that enabled Patricia's behavior. Healing and redemption. The community rallies around Emma, raising funds for her medical treatments. Sarah establishes a foundation for victims of discrimination and hate crimes. Emma undergoes successful reconstructive surgeries and becomes an advocate for disability rights. The neighborhood transforms into a model of accessibility and inclusion. Sarah and Emma find peace as they see good emerge from their tragedy. The courtroom fell silent as the large screen showed Emma's face. Despite the doctor's best efforts, angry red scars covered her left cheek and forehead. She was propped up in her hospital bed, still recovering from her 5th surgery. "Emma, can you tell the court what happened that day?" the prosecutor asked gently. Emma's voice was soft but clear. "I accidentally spilled lemonade on Miss Baker's dress. I apologized immediately. She became very angry, grabbed a bottle from the maintenance cart, and threw the liquid at my face. I remember the burning. It felt like my skin was melting." Patricia stared at the floor, unable to look at the screen. "Did you do anything to provoke Miss Baker before this incident?" the prosecutor continued. "No, I always tried to be friendly, even when she complained about our ramp and modifications to our home." When asked about the pain she endured, Emma's composure broke. "I have had 5 surgeries already. The doctors say I will need at least 7 more. I cannot feel parts of my face anymore when I look in the mirror." Her voice cracked as tears ran down her damaged face. Sarah, sitting in the front row, wiped away her own tears. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage showed Patricia deliberately selecting the drain cleaner bottle, reading its label, and throwing it at Emma. Medical experts detailed the severity of Emma's injuries. Former neighbors testified about Patricia's history of harassment against disabled residents. After 3 days of testimony, the jury deliberated for just 2 hours. "We find the defendant guilty on all counts, including aggravated assault and hate crime against a person with disabilities," the jury forewoman announced at the sentencing hearing. Judge Thompson looked directly at Patricia. "Your actions show a disturbing pattern of prejudice and cruelty. You used a caustic chemical as a weapon against a disabled teenager, causing permanent disfigurement. This court sentences you to 15 years in prison and orders payment of $25 million in damages to Emma Williams." The judge continued, "Furthermore, based on evidence of systematic discrimination, this court orders the immediate dissolution of the current Oakwood Estates Homeowner Association Board and mandates new elections with court oversight." Patricia was led away in handcuffs, her perfect image finally shattered 1 month after the trial. Sarah opened her front door to find her driveway filled with neighbors. Mrs. Jenkins stood at the front. "We have come to help," she said simply. Over the next weekend, volunteers installed better ramps, widened doorways, and made the garden accessible. For Emma's wheelchair, others brought meals for weeks while Sarah cared for Emma between surgeries. A community fundraiser collected over $100,000 for Emma's medical expenses, beyond what the court settlement would eventually cover. "We should have stood up sooner," Mr. Rodriguez, a neighbor, told Sarah. "We were all intimidated by Patricia, but that is no excuse." Using part of the settlement money, Sarah established the Emma Williams Foundation for Disability Justice, providing legal support to victims of discrimination. 6 months and 4 surgeries later, Emma returned to school though. Her face would never be the same. Skilled surgeons had restored much of her appearance. The school installed new accessibility features and started a disability awareness program. Emma spoke at the program's first assembly. "What happened to me was terrible," she said to the silent auditorium, "but it taught me how important it is to stand up for what is right, even when it is difficult." Her classmates gave her a standing ovation at home. Emma started a video blog documenting her recovery and discussing disability rights. It quickly gained thousands of followers. "If my story helps one person feel less alone or changes one mind about people with disabilities, then something good has come from this," she told her viewers. The new homeowner association board, led by Mrs. Jenkins, rewrote the community guidelines to emphasize accessibility and inclusion. Oakwood Estates became known as a model community where differences were not just tolerated but valued. Other neighborhoods sought their advice on creating more inclusive spaces. One evening, as Sarah and Emma sat in their accessible garden watching the sunset, Emma took her mother's hand. "Mom, do you think we should thank Patricia?" Emma asked. Sarah looked shocked. "Thank her for what she did to you?" Emma smiled gently, the scars on her face moving with the expression. "Not for the attack. But if it had not happened, our community would not have changed. The foundation would not exist. All those people we are helping now would still be suffering alone." Sarah brushed her daughter's hair back tenderly. "You amaze me every day, Emma. You have turned tragedy into purpose." "We both have, Mom," Emma replied, "and that is better than any revenge could ever be." As night fell over Oakwood Estates, lights came on in homes where neighbors now looked out for each other, where differences were celebrated, and where justice had paved the way for healing.